Welcome to Live at Pat's Crib, a monthly jam session featuring some of Virginia's finest jazz performers, streaming live and available on demand on YouTube. Tonight's show features the house band, consisting of Steve Rabson on keyboards, Ben Peters on sax, Jorge Rosario Cruz on bass, yours truly Pat Bergen on drums and vocals. And so, without further ado,
this lovely day will linger into evening. We'll smile goodbye to all we ever had. Alone, where we have walked together, I'll remember April and be glad. I'll be content to know that once you loved me. Your lips were warm and love and spring were new. I won't be afraid of autumn and her sorrow. I'll remember April and you. The fire will dwindle into glowing embers, for fire and love last such a little while. I won't forget, but I won't be lonely. I'll remember April and smile. Ben Peters. The fire will dwindle into glowing embers, for flames and love last such a little while. I won't forget, but I won't be lonely. I'll remember April and smile. I'll remember April from the classic motion picture. You all saw this a million times. I know you did. It has to be on Turner TV, all of it. Ride 'em Cowboy, featuring Abbott and Costello. Yes, folks, it's true. All these great songs that have become jazz classics, many of them anyway, were in utterly forgettable, I should say, movies, and this certainly is one of them. I actually sat down this morning and tried to watch it. I lasted 15 minutes, and I just gave up. I said, I can't. It'll turn my brain into a sponge, so I turned it off. Anyway, welcome to Live at Pat's Crib. We are back after a 7-month hiatus because we had a fire in this house. That the fire area was only about that big, but it threw soot through the entire house, and all of the walls had to be torn down. All the carpet had to be thrown away. All the furniture, we have all new furniture in this house right now. All of it had to be done. I can't talk. And we're just happy that we're back into it, and we've got our folks back with us to do these shows. On bass tonight, Jose, I always say that, Jorge Rosario Cruz. Well, we've got like 5 Jose's in this town, and we got 1 Jorge, so there you go. We got Steve Rabson back on keyboards. We got Ben Peters over here on sax. I think Ben has been on, I know he's done 6 or 7. 7 shows. And I am your gracious host, Pat Bergen, and I appreciate your being here. It's going to be a house band show tonight. These guys are picking their own songs to play. And so our special guests are these 3 guys. And coming up on our Jazz Club of the Month, we're going to take you up to Chicago for a great jazz club up there. And I have a special story about that one that I'm going to tell you. But right now we're going to do one more song, and then I'm going to take you up to Chicago. It seems that we have met like this before. We looked at each other in the same way then, but I can't remember where or when. The clothes you're wearing are the clothes you wore. The smile you are smiling, you were smiling then, but I can't remember where or when. Some things that happen for the first time seem to be happening again. And so it seems that we have met before and laughed before and loved before, but who knows where or when? Before and laughed before and loved before, but who knows where or when? Jazz Club of the Month is next. We're going to Chicago.
Back again on Live at Pat's Crib after a 7-month hiatus due to the fire. We explained that earlier. Our Jazz Club of the Month this month is the world-famous London House in Chicago, Illinois. Now, what better place to have a jazz club than Chicago? So many of the greats came from there. It was located on the corner of Wacker Drive and Michigan Avenue. And during its heyday, it was one of the probably the most popular jazz club in America. Oscar Peterson, Bill Evans, Dave Brubeck, Marion McPartland, Dinah Washington, Cannonball Adderley. The list
is endless of people who played there. On the 20th anniversary, Frank Sinatra Jr. Played in the club. This was in 1966. By the way, if you're looking for a sense of the ambiance of that place, 18 albums were recorded at the London House, 2 by Oscar Peterson, 1 by Gene Krupa. More about Gene in a minute. Club was renovated in 1946. It was originally the Dearborn Grill, and they had food and drink in there. For many, many years, I thought the London House was in a hotel until I actually went there and saw it. They'd stay open until 4 a.m. Now, the club continued to operate until about 1975. And the guy who owned it, Jerry Dambra, said, quote, "I was a lucky man to close the 2 greatest clubs in the world." He was the managing partner at Mr. Kelly's as well. Ramsey Lewis was the last performer who played at the London House, and it closed in 1975. As a matter of fact, in January of 75. Now, my personal story about the London House was when I was in the Air Force and stationed in Minot, North Dakota. Coming back home on leave, I would travel in uniform on the train. And that's because I got a better price, right, for the ticket. So I get to Chicago, 4-hour layover. I had read where Gene Krupa played in the London House from time to time. So I decided to see Gene if I could. Took a cab. It was not very far away, about a mile away. And sure enough, Gene Krupa and his quartet were playing there. I'm sitting at the table in my uniform, and I noticed that he noticed me. At the break, he came over, and he said, "I appreciate your being here. You're serving our country, and I think a great deal of that, pal." Called me pal. And we talked for a little bit, and I told him I was a big fan of his from the time I was 5 years old and first heard Sing, Sing, Sing on my dad's turntable. And he said, "Pal, anytime you want to come back, please do so and be my guest." Well, I wish I could have done it. Gene passed away in 1970s, I think 71. I did get a chance to see him one more time at the Canadian National Exhibition up on the bandstand, and he passed away not long after that. But that's the story of the London House and my personal story about it. Now back to the music.
Don't forget the monthly jam session at the Colonial Tavern on the second Thursday of each month. The finest musicians in Northern Virginia team up with amateur performers from all over the area and crank out some seriously fine jams. We start the session at 7:30 and go until we all run out of songs, wind, or until they turn the lights out on us. See you there. Don't forget the monthly jam session at the Colonial Tavern on the second Thursday of each month. The finest musicians in Northern Virginia team up with amateur performers from all over the area and crank out some seriously fine jams. We start the session at 7:30 and go until we all run out of songs, wind, or until they turn the lights out on us. See you there. Don't forget the monthly jam session at the Colonial Tavern on the second Thursday of each month. The finest musicians in Northern Virginia team up with amateur performers from all over the area and crank out some seriously fine jams. We start the session at 7:30 and go until we all run out of songs, wind, or until they turn the lights out on us. See you there.
Well, that does it for another episode of Live at Pat's Crib. We're happy you were able to join us tonight, and we hope you'll join us again next month for 2 brand new guest artists. Now, if you are a musician, a jazz musician in particular, and you play an instrument or you sing, please drop by the Fredericksburg Jazz Collective monthly jam session at the Colonial Tavern on the second Thursday of every month. It's an open jam session, so come up and join us. In the meantime, we'll see you again next month for another episode of Live at Pat's Crib. Good night.
The preceding show was taped before a live audience. At least they were when we started. No musicians were harmed in the making of this video, except for me when I slipped and fell into John. All musicians are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law, which they are. If I talk any faster, my teeth will fall out.